Like it or not, AI is here to stay. And one of the new features coming to the Galaxy Z Fold 6 in terms of software features and AI is battery AI. We talked a little bit about it and some performance that it's going to bring in terms of the battery life being improved with it. But we got some more details today about battery AI and how it's going to launch with Galaxy Z Fold 6. You should not have to wait till One UI 7, and it'll obviously trickle down to other phones as well. The tweet that went out was from Panda Flash, confirming that Samsung plans to utilize battery AI in the Z Fold 6 to enhance the battery backup by approximately 20 to 30 minutes more. Now, I don't know if that's screen on time or actually just battery life in general. I would hope it's screen on time because that would be a little bit more impressive, but it doesn't say. By using battery AI, you can ensure over 5 to 10% extra battery backup with the same performance, meaning that your phone's not gonna work any less. You know, it's not gonna be laggy, it's not gonna be crappy, you're gonna still be able to use it basically to its full potential. But the battery AI is going to enhance the battery life of your phone, again, by about 20 or 30 minutes, which it's better than nothing, just not super duper impressive, but it is something that you can market, sell it to fans, sell it to people that don't, you know, read between the lines all that much, but it's still, I'm cool with it. As long as it doesn't affect the experience and it says it doesn't, then I'm gonna have to give it 2 thumbs up. I'm waiting for you, battery AI. We've been talking about the Galaxy Z Fold 6 FE, which is a lesser version of the current Galaxy Z Fold 6 that will be coming out very soon. It's going to be cheaper. It's potentially gonna be thinner or lighter, have less features, but then have some of the same features. And we've been hearing it's going to launch alongside the Galaxy Z Fold 6, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. The latest coming out of Korea from the Elect is that Samsung Electronics has completely reconsidered plans to launch the Z Fold 6 entry-level model, also the Galaxy Z Fold 6 FE model this year. So it sounds like, if you read the article, they're not going to release it this year at all. The reason is they were like gonna make it thinner, but then it was really similar to what you get with a regular Z Fold 6, and now they wanna make the Z Fold 6 just like a better phone in general, as best as they can do, and not break up their time between the two devices. Also, the way I look at it, there's not even any photos of the phone. That is another thing. It's like, there's no photos. Obviously, it's probably not gonna come out. So it all makes sense. It's not a huge surprise. We're months away from the release of the Z Fold 6, and to not even see what a full FE edition would look like, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, we would have seen something by now, definitely. Just like the Pro version or the Ultra version. We haven't seen anything about it, so I don't think that's gonna launch either. But I don't think this is a huge loss, really, unless they had gotten this price to be really, really low. It's probably wouldn't have sold well anyway. It's gonna have to get into like $1,000. Maybe 1,200 people would be okay, but I would say like $1,000 before people are looking at that folding phone and like, damn, I'm gonna buy it, that's pretty cool. We've got a bunch of stories about phones that you are dying to know, so let's dive right in. The first one has to do with the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Recently we spoke about it potentially dropping the cameras in the back from 4 to 3 and then removing one of the zooms on the back there, or at least kind of like replacing it with it just based off the main cameras. But we wanted to talk a little bit more about that because Ice Universe has put out a tweet detailing information about it, saying that what is certain is that the S25 Ultra still has 4 cameras. Samsung won't take the liberty of removing the 3x lens, but an upgrade is very possible. I'll have to wait for more specific and accurate news. I will bring you absolutely accurate camera information. And I kind of detailed that it's, you know, the information we're talking about might not be true, it might be true, but Ice Universe has a wonderful track record. So we'll go with what he's saying here right now. Obviously anything can be changed or amended, but this potentially could mean that we're gonna get a very similar design in the back of the cameras from the 24 Ultra to the 25 Ultra and have very similar cameras in general. Now the Pixel 8a, which I have right here, Google sent it over to me, so I'll be having some videos on this very, very soon. But the Pixel 8a and 9 and 9 Pro and 9 Pro XL and all those phones will be out in the next few months. But what about the information about these phones? Are they gonna be different? Are they not gonna be different from the previous generation? Well, a couple tweets here. First one from Yogesh Brar talking about the Pixel 8a. The 9 series will most likely be getting the same camera setup as that of the Pixel 8 series. No major change. He's saying what's new inside the Pixel 9 will be the Tensor G4 design a little bit and a more price-defined 3-device lineup. Now, to continue with all of that, there has been a leak. I'll put a link to the photos if you want to see them, but I don't want to put them out just in case of copyright strikes. There's some real-life images of the Pixel 9 phones, and Pixel 9 live images and revealed in a huge leak. Some things to note, though, is that the Pixel 9 will be 6.24 inches, 9 Pro will be 6.34 inches, and the Pixel 9 Pro XL will be 6.73 inches. You're looking at 12 gigs of RAM, bigger bezels, and a glossy back for the Pixel 9. 16 gigs of RAM for the Pro model, so on the Pro and Pro XL you can get 16 gigs of RAM, so hopefully Samsung puts theirs up to 16 gigs of RAM at this point. 50 megapixel triple camera setup on the Pro. And also the Pixel Fold will be coming. They just don't have any photos of that just yet. But yeah, it's funny how I feel like in a lot of ways, at least in a hardware wise, Pixel's doing a lot more different things than Samsung is. I feel like they're almost pushing the envelope a little bit more than Samsung does. Samsung's doing it more on the software side, and then you got Pixel doing it more on the hardware side by adding more RAM, obviously the latest processor, which Samsung also does, changing the display sizes a little bit there, I think they're mostly smaller, but it's still a change. They're taking, and then the design has changed differently as well, with the camera setup on the back. So the more I want things to change, the more they seem to want to stay the same per Samsung, and I do not like the tone of the tweet that I'm about to show you about the successor to this phone, the S24 Ultra, for the S25 Ultra. Man, I really, really want things to change here, and I think that the way that Samsung's going is more on a software side rather than a hardware side, which is better for them to make more money because they can put out the same hardware basically and still make a lot of money. So here's the tweet right here from Ice Universe saying that regarding the camera of the S25 Ultra, you need to be prepared for the worst. Do not rule out the possibility that everything will remain the same. Everything will remain the same. Remember those words. What I can confirm at present is that the screen size has not changed and it is still 6.8 inches. And the reason I say I think they're going more towards a software side is because you can even see it in their marketing currently with them pushing AI. And AI is a huge thing because it can change the phone in so many ways, from photos to your photo gallery to the daily usage of your phone, like circle to search, or having it being able to translate languages for you in real time and take phone calls and do this and that. Like, you can do a million things, but at the same time, you're still looking at this phone, so maybe you want a bigger display or a better display, or maybe you still have to take photos, so maybe you still want better cameras on there, or faster charging, or a display on the back so you can see when you take your photos. You know, AI can do a lot of stuff currently, but it can't do everything. I think it will get to a point in our lives where it basically can just do everything for us, but we're still years or decades away from something like that. And it's going to be where the consumer is spending a lot of money on these devices, and it's going to give you less of an incentive to upgrade, or at least want to upgrade, because you're going to look at this, you're going to say, hey, the new S25 Ultra is out, but you know what? My S24 Ultra can do all of that, but if I upgrade, I can do these new AI stuff. You know, and that's going to get back to the consumer, and the consumer is going to be like, I don't want to upgrade. I don't want to pay, you know, whatever the difference is going to be, $500 or $1,000 after trade-in, just to get this extra AI feature right then and there. I'll wait the 3 months until I get it. Or maybe you'll still have some disconnect where you can't get all those AI features because it has to be on the new processor in the new phone. It's going to cause a rift where these devices, this one especially, this should be able to do everything for years and years and years to come that any other Galaxy phone that they put out in the next couple of years will be able to do. But it doesn't make financial sense for Samsung to do that. But then you also think about Samsung's going to be charging for these AI features over the next couple of years. So it might not matter if you upgrade or not, because you can be paying a monthly fee just to be able to use those AI features. I think the economy of where we are in terms of phones and upgrading, it's probably going to change a lot in the next couple of years, few years, 5 years, because we are having phones that are super powerful, and a lot of the things that we do don't even take control of that power. They don't need that much power. And AI is going to be able to offset or complete or do a lot of the things that we want our phones to do. And if they're going to give us these services through AI, they're going to want you to pay for it so that they can continue to make money, to continue to develop those AI services. I think we're entering, what I'm basically saying is I think we're entering a services market rather than a hardware and services market. I think you'll still have your hardware, but phones are going to be kept longer and longer because the services will be on all these phones because you're going to pay for it, and they won't keep this service away from that phone, vice versa, because we're all going to be paying for it. I'm going to show you how to take for your Samsung Galaxy volume control panel from a 9 to a 10. This is going to look amazing on here, and it's all through Good Lock and Sound Assistant. And I'm showing you a tip and trick today because it's really kind of a slow news day, so I thought I would show you this. So the first thing you're going to need is Good Lock. If you don't have Good Lock, go to the Galaxy App Store on your phone. Once you're there, tap the search button in the top right, type in Good Lock, download it. It's a free app from Samsung. And then once you have that downloaded, open it up, and you're going to be able to go into the following. We're looking for Sound Assistant. So Sound Assistant is on the left here, hand side here. We're looking for Sound Assist. There it is at the very bottom. And make sure you download that, click on it, download it, install it, open it up, and you're gonna see I have these really, really cool, and I'll show you where it is. Let me just go back into it. So you're gonna have where it says make your own volume control panel colors. Go into that, turn it on in the top right, and your volume controls, you can see mine right now is like that purplish color, but you can choose from a bunch of different ones, and they look so freaking cool. You can see when I expand it open to show you what the other different ones look like, they just look so awesome. This one's crazy. This one's like all over the place. Look at this one. Wow, everything's like freaking going crazy on here. Super awesome stuff looking on here. I love it. I think it's like a really cool feature to have. And, you know, and it is a simple thing. It's not like you're going to be like, oh, I got to see those volume control panels, but it just adds a little bit of flair, a little bit of excitement to your phone in general. And all you're going to do again is just click those little radio buttons or check boxes at the bottom here to change between the different ones. And if you don't like it, just turn it off in the top, and that's all you do. I kind of like this blue, purple, pink one. I think that one's nice. It's not overly wild like the very first one is, and the colors stand out a little bit, but they're not too flashy, and I think it looks fantastic. Look at that, so awesome on here. Expand it out for you. Like, tell me that doesn't look awesome. It looks really, really cool. Waiting to talk about the Galaxy Z Fold 6, get some new information on this phone, and we do have some information. So Galaxy Z Fold 6, we've heard it might have 16 gigs of RAM, might have 12 gigs of RAM. It might have a little bit of both depending upon which storage amount that you get. And so based off of a benchmark for Geekbench, this phone has been leaked out with that amount of RAM and all of that. So what we're looking at here is, per the benchmark, we're looking at that it's going to have a score of 1964 on the single core and 6619 on the multi-core score. It is also due to have that Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor along with 12 gigabytes of RAM. That doesn't mean we won't see a 16 gig RAM model, but as of right now, there's only a 12 gigabyte RAM model. I do have some more information about the Galaxy Z Fold 6, but let me just dive into this just a little bit. Now, 12 gigs of RAM is plenty of RAM. It's definitely great. But at the same time, a lot of other phones, you look at the OnePlus Open, the first generation, that is 16 gigs. There's rumors that the new Pixel phone, the new Pixel 9 Pro Fold, is also gonna have 16 gigs of RAM. And for Samsung to stick with 12 is really interesting, especially when their competitors are already or will be most likely at 16 gigs of RAM per rumors or per real life, like the OnePlus Open. So I really hope they end up showing up with, you know, higher storage amounts with more bits of RAM on there, so that if someone wants to get a phone they're going to keep for years and years and years, and they want the performance and the ability to run more apps open at multiple times, have that ability, that they give us, the consumer, the option to actually buy a 16 gig RAM version of the Galaxy Z Fold 6. But as of right now, it doesn't look like we're getting the 16 gig bit of RAM, but maybe they will. We'll wait and see. The other bit of information is actually really good information. It's something I kind of expected anyway about the Galaxy Z Fold 6. Now, this tweet comes from the Galaxy, and I'll be honest, I don't know where he's pulling this from, but hopefully not from his bootay. Bye-bye crease almost. A completely redesigned ultra-thin glass layer will be implemented into the upcoming Galaxy Z series. It's over 50% thicker, which means a stronger, more durable surface and a less visible crease. And I mean, you could probably have guessed this anyway, that this is going to happen. I really think we're going to see a much decreased crease, just like he's pointing out, but then also just a better built Galaxy phone. The Fold 5 is I wouldn't call it a rock, but it's built so much better than all their previous generations, and you would think that Samsung's getting it better and better every generation, and I expect that for the Z Fold 6 already to do the same. So yeah, I do expect a really much decreased crease, which is going to be a big selling point for a lot of people that are turned off by the crease, but don't be, because it doesn't affect your usage of it. And then also just a better built phone is another high priority in a lot of people's lists for these phones, because in the past they haven't been built really rock solid like they have been, starting with the Fold 5 and other folding phones. Today's story is all about the OnePlus Open 2. We've heard that this phone is most likely going to be delayed until 2025, but we don't know exactly when in 2025. It could come the beginning, the middle, the end. It might not even come out at all, but the rumors are that the latest we've heard anyway is that the OnePlus Open 2, which is based off the Oppo Find N3 or 4, whatever it's going to end up being, has been delayed until 2025. And the reason being is we don't really fully know why. I'm assuming it's because they want to see how the market goes with these folding phones, or it could be because they have bigger plans for their folding phone and they just don't have the right amount of time to actually implement those changes. But ultimately, the OnePlus Open is a awesome folding phone. It's awesome because it's fast, it's got good cameras, it's got super fast charging. It has like every feature you'd want. It's got a great display on the inside and outside displays. It's just a great phone overall. Maybe the best phone that you can get for a folding phone in some regards. Let's talk about when it possibly could come out in 2025, at least from Yogesh Brar, who's saying that the OnePlus Open 2 can get an early, and I stress early, 2025 launch, as Oppo is pushing back their foldables project. This opens up space for the Z Fold 6, Google Fold 2 or Pixel 9 Pro Fold, which is what it's most likely going to be called, the Vivo X Fold 3, and the upcoming Mix Fold. And I think, I kind of mentioned that in my last story about the OnePlus Open 2 coming out, in 2025, that it is going to open the door for customers that were potentially looking at the OnePlus Open 2, and now they're going to be like, I can grab the Z Fold 6 because I need it now, or I want that now, and there's no other phone that matches or come close to the OnePlus Open. Or there's also going to be people that, looking at the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. And again, if you live somewhere else, you might have more opportunity to buy easier than having to import one of these other folding phones from China. But ultimately, in America and a lot of parts of the world, your only decisions on foldable phones are Samsung, OnePlus, and Google. And even at that, sometimes Google and OnePlus aren't even good options for where you live. So with that said, though, I did want to say that the OnePlus Open is still and will remain a phone that should be a viable contender to even the Z Fold 6 when that comes out, and the Pixel 9 Pro Fold when that comes out, even though it'll be a year old at that point. Also remember, since the phone is gonna be basically a year old plus, you're gonna probably get some really, really good deals with the phone. They're gonna wanna clear out their inventory as the year gets older, and they're also going to want to sell this phone so that they can contain their customers that do buy the phone and not lose them to Google or Samsung. So there's a lot going on here if you really think about it. It's not just so cut and dry like, hey, there's no OnePlus Open 2. There's still the OnePlus Open, which again competes with these other folding phones in a lot of regards, and also the price is probably gonna be a lot less because it's older than the Z Fold 6 and the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. So when these things happen, you know, the Z Fold 6 and the 9 Pro Fold come out, we'll see what OnePlus does in terms of promotions for this phone and how they attack those phones as well with this phone. We've got an amazing treat for you, all about the Google Pixel Fold 2 or Pixel Fold 9 Pro, whatever you want to call it. Most likely it'll be called the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. And this is what it basically is going to look like. We see it compared to a Fold 5. We see it compared to a OnePlus Open. We see it compared to the regular Pixel Fold. It is a magnificent looking folding phone, and if this does not make you want to switch to this phone over all the other foldable phones that are out and coming out, I don't know what will, because this looks absolutely crazy amazing, and we just have to check this out. So let's look at it. So our first photo shows it against the Fold 1. Now again, it's probably called the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, but they're gonna call it Fold 2 in these images, so just keep in mind of that. So you can see this is I believe the Fold 1 was a 7.6 inch display and the Fold 2 is a 8.03 inch display. So it's a little bit larger, and it's taller. It's probably just as wide. Obviously the bezel is a little bit less. It still does have a bezel. It looks like the camera sits on top of the display on the top right on here, and it just looks crazy great. I mean, the display is huge, guys. Huge, huge, huge. And I think that's exciting for this folding game overall. Here it is next to the Fold 5, and the Fold 5, I love the inside display of the Fold 5. Pixel Fold 2 is ginormous next to it. You could fit it, plus again, another 0.4 inches in there, 0.42 inches in there of display. It's massive. It's enough to make this multitasking look, it's gonna be great. It's not gonna feel thin at all when you do multitasking on here. And I think that's gonna be a smart thing overall with this. It's gonna be, you know, multitasking is huge on any folding phone, but the Pixel Fold 2 is gonna look great with multitasking. Now, OnePlus Open is really in a lot of circles, especially mine. It's really one of the most perfect sized phones on the outside and inside displays, and it looks like Pixel Fold 2 is basically doing that. You can see there is a little bit more bezel on the Pixel Fold 2 on the outside display, especially in the top left-hand corner along the left-hand edge and the bottom left-hand corner. And I know people are gonna call it out on it, but when you look at it, that looks like a traditional phone kind of would. Obviously, the traditional phone would have equal bezel parts or close to it if it didn't, and this doesn't. But I think that's gonna be the major but the major negative when people are talking about this phone is like, oh, I can see some bezel on the left-hand side. But otherwise, it looks most like, just the display itself looks really much like a OnePlus Open, and that has a awesome outside display. Here is the Pixel Fold 2 next to each other, the inside and the outside displays. And when you look at this, the design language is pretty similar with each other. The outside bezel being silver and then black on the inside, I mean, it'll probably be, depending upon what color phone you get, it'll probably be black in some instances on the outside and then potentially silver on the outside on other instances. But again, that's what it looks like on the front there. The next photo just shows you the display again, 8.02 inches coming from 7.6 inches. After that, we have like a side view kind of thing. You can see the camera bump sticking out, which it sticks out a fair amount on the Pixel Fold as well. And it looks like it's going to do that again on the Pixel Fold 2. But otherwise, it looks pretty thin as a phone. Here's another angle with the camera sticking out. You can see the bezel. I mean, the camera does stick out. I mean, it's going to be one of those things. I don't imagine a lot of people are going to have this phone as it's hanging out in terms of without a case. You're going to have a case on it. So once you have a case on it, it's going to be equal sized on the back. It shouldn't rock really at all unless you are naked with the phone. Here's another angle. You can see the buttons on the side there going from 10.54 millimeters to from 12.1 millimeters overall on the side. Here's another view of the front, 6.29 inch display from 5.8 inch, so you're gonna get a bigger, taller display, and it won't be as wide, which I think a lot of people will probably appreciate. Here's the hinge view, and the hinge looks nice. I hope it opens at 180 degrees rather than 178 degrees. And again, you can really see how thick that camera is, but it doesn't bother me because I always put a case on and it's protected and all that. So again, not really a huge issue at all. Here's another side view. Looks great. Looks like an awesome looking phone. Not squared off like the Fold 6, but rounded, and it is squared, I guess, on one end of there. But I just can't say enough about how looking at that phone, having a Tensor G4 processor, hopefully a good price, which I doubt it will be a under $1,500 or anything like that, but it has so much going for it. I think the only thing that's gonna hold it back are, you know, people are gonna be like, well, it doesn't have a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 or Gen 4, and it has a Tensor G4, but the Tensor G2 still runs awesome on the Pixel Fold, and that's a pretty, it can do some gaming. You know, if you're a AAA gamer, it's not going to be able to do some of those things that you want, especially at the high levels. It can play AAA games, but you're going to be playing them at medium to high settings. But if you're trying to play them at everything at high or ultra high at 120 frames per second or 60 frames per second, that phone might not be able to do it, meaning the Pixel Fold 2, due to the fact that the processor is really great at day-to-day stuff. It's great at medium to high gaming. It might be a little bit better this year, obviously, but I know from the Tensor G2 to the G3, there wasn't a huge difference. So I'm hoping that the Tensor G4 will really bring it in and make it a very competitive phone power-wise with the rest of the market. So what do you guys think about it? Is this gonna make you wanna switch from a Galaxy phone or the OnePlus, or maybe you don't have a folding phone and you're like, I'm getting this one now. Let me know why. Have a great day. We'll see you down the road. Peace.